Assalamu alaikum and welcome to An-Nur the Light. When we first aired this next episode, we had a resounding call for a repeat. Dr. Sooliman is not only the leader of the organization Gift of the Givers, but his example of doing good for others strikes at the heart of the message of Islam's last prophet, Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
If the mark of a man is measured by the contribution he makes to humanity, then Dr. Sooliman of the organization Gift of the Givers can be regarded as a giant in this regard. Over the course of the last 20 years, he has dedicated his life to the plight of those less fortunate. Gift of the Givers is a South African non-governmental organization that endeavors to lend a helping hand where it's needed most.
The desire to serve people. That motivates me, especially when I look at my own situation, that yes, everybody has difficulty, but there are degrees of difficulty. And especially when you travel all over the world and you see the needs of people, there is no reason for us to complain. We are far better off than many people. And one of the ways of showing thankfulness to God Almighty is to give back to human beings in need.
People are the core of Dr. Sooliman's philosophy, and to serve God is the motivation that keeps him going. As a Muslim, he believes it is his duty that he does all he can to put practice to the teachings of Islam.
We're very proud of that. We are a Muslim organization. Our basis is Islam, Tariqa. We make no bones about that. But we're proud of that because Islam and the Sufi Tariqa says that all men are equal. It says help all men unconditionally.
Dr. Sooliman's Sufi teacher, Muhammad Zafaya Effendi from Istanbul in Turkey, has been the instigator as well as the inspiration for his work.
The Sufi teacher told me something else. He said, when you do this work, don't expect to get anything back in return. Expect to get a kick up your back. If you don't get the kick up your back, regard that as a bonus. You serve for God only and for nothing else. And he said one more important thing, the most important principle of the work that we do. He said, remember my son, you do nothing. Nothing is done by you. Everything is done through you. So don't let ego get to your head. Just remember that nothing is done by you. Everything is done through you. It's the grace of God Almighty. And as long as you remember that, you will progress and you will serve many people.
It's always important to judge people about what they do, rather than just have perceptions about people. As we are talking about the gift of the givers, we are talking about a practical, concrete program that is there. They are intervening. They've got a passion to help the poor people. Here, you have an individual who's a Muslim, but who cares, who does not just say, I will do everything for the people who are like me in terms of the belief, who is assisting everyone without asking whether you're a Muslim or not a Muslim. In fact, in the majority of cases, he knows these are not Muslims, but these are human beings who need to be helped. I think that kind of practical thing, if you don't have preconceived ideas, I don't think you'll have a reason to say this is not a good individual doing a good work through his organization and therefore needs encouragement.
Disaster struck Mozambique in 1990 in the form of a drought, and it was here that Dr. Sooliman got his first taste of doing relief work. It bit him like a bug and he's not looked back since. It was also during those early years that one of the core guidelines of the organization he was to start later on was born.
I got involved in taking aid into the Gulf War, and in the same year, there was a massive cyclone in Bangladesh, which wiped out, I think, more than 150,000 people, in one event. And I took aid there, and it was in those two events, the Gulf War and Bangladesh, where one of the principles of Gift of the Givers is to work with governments. And in that process, in 91, although it was pre-Gift of the Givers, I started working with the South African government in 91 for the Gulf War and for Bangladesh. And in this process, I met this man. This man was so soft with all people, that he was so accommodating. And I realized that this is the real religion, that you don't put the paintbrush across all people because of the actions of a few people. They are good and bad in every race and every religion. And that's what touched me the most. And from there I realized I could see something spiritual in this man's face. And from that man's face and what he said, the words had such an impact. And my heart just told me that this is the right man, this is the right way, and this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Dr. Sooliman started out small, and today his organization Gift of the Givers has its home base in Pietermaritzburg in KwaZulu-Natal. There are 2 huge warehouses that store all they need, and the offices are situated further down the road. Most of his staff have been with him for a number of years, and they share his passion for the work they do.
I'm with Gift of the Givers for about 7 to 8 years now, and I was with Imtiaz Sooliman when we started the food parcel, the 65 million rand food parcel for the government. Originally, these projects, when I started, there was no projects involved at that time, especially like garden projects, beadwork projects and sewing projects and stuff. So people used to come to us begging, you know, we've got no food. And so we decided we don't want to see a lot more people begging. We want people to earn a living. We want people to be self-sustainable. So we started the garden projects, we started beadwork projects, sewing projects, carpentry projects, pallet repairs, furniture making, building projects, anything that can earn somebody so he can, you know, support his family. And we call it Project Dignity. So we want people, you know, to protect their dignity and keep it where it's supposed to be, not to lose everything and become beggars.
Gift of Givers providing seed and also water pump and fertilizers and all type of seed, plants and the fencing. And what you're looking at, what we got a little bit shack there, we also Gift of Givers put it there for us. So we think we are moving a bit faster on this project, and we are trying to achieve more and keep the Gift of Givers Foundation running.
With the garden projects, we take the unemployed people, people who are poor. I approach the municipality and obtain land such as dump sites and where a lot of crime has taken place. We get these people, we group them up like 10 families in one garden project. We let them start plowing the land, and we provide them with seeds, fertilizers, seedlings as well, fencing, water pumps, irrigation piping, roof tins, poles, whatever their requirement is. And once they have started up, all their produce, some of it is gone to their homes for their own food. The balance of it, some of it goes to the market, some are given to the poor. So if somebody wants to eat chicken today, you know, he can sell vegetable and he's got money to buy chicken. Somebody requires school uniform, he sells some vegetable and he can buy a school uniform. In the same system, we're trying not to make people to go out just for handouts only. We're trying to make them to be self-sustainable.
We're growing cabbages, we're growing cauliflower, we're growing beans, we're growing chilies. Also we're trying to grow nuts too. And we'll be carrying on with a lot of things in this farm.
One of the hallmarks of the organization is its ingenuity. From container hospitals to ready-made food, Dr. Sooliman's vision seems endless.
We're the only organization in the world that built the world's first containerized mobile hospital. Up to today, no agency, no government has replicated this model. And we took it to Bosnia in 1993. Each unit was self-sustaining. A theater unit, ICU, X-ray, sterilization, orthopedic unit, a hospital in containers, shipping containers. When international media saw the hospital in Mostar, they said the South African container hospital is equal to any of the best hospitals in Europe. And that says a lot for a continent where we are regarded as beggars, where the begging board is put out and people say we are corrupt, there's bribery, we are backward, we are not developed. And for us to build a hospital which nobody in the world can match says a lot. I mean, we are proud of that. Secondly, that was in 93. In 94, we designed the world's first containerized primary healthcare unit. And we have 23 such units functional. 20 in South Africa, 3 in Malawi. And those average 40,000 patients a month. In 2004, again, we designed the world's first high-energy groundnut soya preparation called Sibusiso Ready Food. And that has served phenomenally in terms of disasters, as well as malnourished people. And in HIV, AIDS, and TB, it has having a phenomenal impact.
Food shortages especially have caused people to become malnourished, and with HIV/AIDS responsible for the biggest number of deaths on the African continent, Dr. Sooliman has hit on a unique, easy-to-prepare meal that could help. Research into Sibasiso was conducted by UKZN's Dietetics and Human Nutrition Department, and the results speak for themselves.
Sibasiso came as a lifesaver it was developed at the height of the South African HIV/AIDS pandemic. As you know, South Africa had one of the highest prevalence rates in the world. And it was developed at a time when there was not really time to do proper research on Sibasiso. So its use was basically based on anecdotal evidence. And what's happened with Sibasiso is that the product did so well not only in the South African market, but especially in Africa, and obviously also internationally, not only for people with HIV, but also under different conditions such as malnutrition. And under those conditions, the product is really very helpful.
The vision of Imtiaz Sooliman is limitless. He creates vehicles that will remain long into the future. For the last few years, he's initiated a scholarship program in forestry and agriculture. Students come from all over Africa to the university in Pietermaritzburg.
Gift of the Givers provides the university with a scholarship fund for helping to build capacity with agricultural science students. So we have the opportunity to grant 8 scholarships a year for students. And the second contribution that Gift of the Givers has and link with our university is Dr. Sooliman contributes every year to an international module we have for building capacity in Africa on food security. So he comes to present his perspectives and his experience across the continent, particularly with disaster relief. We just don't have enough people in Africa and enough people confident in their skills to be able to make a contribution. Most of our countries in Africa rely on agriculture for their income, and most households are agriculturally productive or have a potential. And so particularly with the current global food crisis, agriculture is the answer to Africa's future food security. And so the more people we can get trained to create a critical mass of well-trained people, particularly with holistic approaches to dealing with food and development issues, the more likely we are to address our issues in Africa.
Dr. Sooliman's work is well recognized, and he often forms partnerships with governments to get his aid delivered. The South African government in particular is one of the major contributors, making Imtiaz and his organization the preferred partner in situations like this.
The South African government has virtually partnered us on every international mission, where the President's office or the Foreign Minister's office would send representatives on the planes with us. Sometimes they would pay for the planes and we would fill it, or sometimes we would pay for the plane and fill it and take them across with us. So it's a very unique mutualistic relationship where they provide the diplomacy.
I think it is a very important thing that we have got a non-governmental organization that could collaborate with government to act swiftly when the call comes. When people are in dire need, they are in trouble, they need to be helped as quickly as possible. And I think this is what, to me, is good about South Africans who have got good heart, who could feel the pain that other people are feeling and act on it. Is a good example. I think it should be encouraged, probably enhanced, so that that kind of reaction and intervention is more bigger than what it has been in the past.
In 1993, we received the President's Order of the Star of South Africa. It's not politically correct, but I was the first non-white to receive that award. A few years later, in April 1997, Nelson Mandela gave me the Civic Commendation Award on behalf of Maritzburg City, and several other awards from locally and internationally. Even in Malawi, we won award 2 years in a row for HIV/AIDS delivery, and again for service excellence from the Malawian government.
An organization of this nature does need to be given support by the government because, firstly, because it can reach areas that the government does not reach easily, it will be able to inform the government as to what is the situation, but also where the government has not reached in terms of its programs, it can actually reach there first. If we are supporting it, given the capacity it has, I think it could actually do more.
Soweto is South Africa's biggest township and was created by the apartheid government to house black people, many of whom worked in the city. Over time, it became overpopulated and conditions worsened. Schools bore the brunt of this as more pupils meant more resources. Adelaide Tambo School caters for pupils with special needs. It is the only school of its kind in the area and has 380 physically challenged learners. There were no funds available in the education budget to adequately pay for much of the equipment needed until Dr. Sooliman got involved.
Adelaide Tambo is a very unique and very important name in South African politics and South African history. It identifies what liberation, what struggle, what oppression, what hardship and difficulty. And it creates to me, it gives me the idea, a vision of bringing hope and opportunity to our people in keeping with our philosophy. And when they found the school, we found, number one, that the principal and the staff and the kids were very willing to participate in the program. I just don't take any school. There must be a willingness on the part of the staff, the governing body, the learners, the educators and the parents to be fully involved with us. We don't like to throw money away at something and waste our time. And we also say that when we get involved in a project, the success of the project gives us the inspiration to do more similar projects with other areas. And also it gives the donors encouragement. When we found the school, we found that school had excelled in sports, in education, in development, and in many areas they were really doing a sterling job. And we decided to get involved.
Schools are supposed to be centers of enlightenment. And we are hoping that this partnership is going to help, and not only the learners of Adelaide Tambo, but it's going to be an offshoot to the community, help community in terms of skills, fundraise anything that has to help those people that would need, nutrition and the like, and also help communities with clinic, medical facility and all those things. We hope that the school is going to be the center of the community in terms of help, but also in terms of skills acquisition, that we'll be working with Gift of Givers. That is our vision.
Partnerships like these are found across South Africa. Dr. Sooliman has a knack for finding people and places that are in dire need and coming to their rescue. In Cape Town, one of the hospitals that serves an impoverished area required a new scanner. Imtiaz didn't only put in an ordinary scanner, he sourced the best available. Dr. Sooliman often goes on literacy campaigns, delivering books and much-needed aid to schools and hospitals. For Imtiaz, help is not bound by religion, color or creed.
On all our missions, it's open to all people of all color, and all religions, and even of no religion too. People are welcome to join us. If you're a humanitarian and you want to serve, we create the opportunity for you to serve on our missions. And in fact, every mission we've had mixed teams, not only Muslims. People from all colors and all religions have been joining us. And the last term, the Catholic Church, because they supported our initiative for Gaza, both in terms of the donation, in terms of moral support, in terms of public support, in terms of voicing in the support in the media, they wanted to send a representative who was a pediatric nurse. And he came with, as part of that mission, to serve in the areas. And he was treated equally like every other person on the team. And that's what he mentioned. He was given hero's welcome as everybody else got in Gaza. And he was part of the team like everybody else was. And he served like everybody else did. When we came back, the Catholic Bishops' Conference called us to say that they were very impressed with the way we treated their representative in our area, because there's so much of polarization and so much of mistrust and suspicion between different religions. And they said they were absolutely amazed with the way this man was treated by his own account. And they said, look, they were raising funds for our campaign, and they wanted to do a check handover, and if you don't mind coming to the head office in Pretoria, they would like to do it there. And they gave us a check for 81,000 rand. Then the money was not important. It's the principle of working together and showing that humanity is one collective.
Funding, while critical, is acquired through donations such as these.
All the money comes from South Africa, and the bulk of the money is from ordinary people. We don't have collectors on the road. We don't go door to door. We don't phone people. We don't make proposals. We don't have paid advertising. We have media coverage, yes, that's for free, but we don't have paid advertising. So in every way, it comes from the people itself. Yes, we are a Muslim organization, and I make that very clear. But they know as a Muslim organization, we are purely humanitarian. Religious systems don't come into our application of that humanitarian aid to people in need.
The principles of Gift of the Givers are intrinsically linked to the character and personage that is Imtiaz Sooliman. Wherever he goes, people are drawn to him. He exudes an energy field that propels positivity, and while he tries to remain in the background, the light falls solely on his efforts to make life better for all.
I think he has achieved a lot. I think it takes individuals, of course, to play a role in influencing situations and in influencing and therefore impacting on the lives of other people. I think he has done so. I think he does it with such a dedication and commitment that you don't feel that this person is just doing it for the sake of it. He has a passion for it. I think if there could just be more than half a dozen of such people, we could do more.
As long as God gives me life, I would like to do many, many more projects. I want to reach 1 billion in service delivery, and the sooner I get to that, the better it is. I know for a fact that the kinds of things that I do in inverted commas, it's not me. It's not possible for me to do the things that I do. And it's obvious there's a higher power doing this. So getting egoistic doesn't help, but that's not you, that's not your capacity, that's not your capability. I mean, from an ordinary doctor to deal with diplomats, to deal with foreign relations, administration, management, finance, marketing, and a whole range of things. Where do all those skills come from without even studying all that? It just comes naturally. It's not something I look for. It just happens. And there's another thing my teacher told me. He said, as life progresses, you will know what to do in every situation. It's obvious it's a higher prayer.
Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman is a man who walks the talk, talks the talk, and gets the deed done. Over the course of the last 20 years, he's built an organization that uplifts, improves, and adds value to the lives of all it touches. His vision of helping people has seen thousands of those less fortunate and disaster-struck get aid. His life is lived in the service of all who need him. Humanity is richer with a person like Dr. Imtiaz Sooliman.
I think we can truly say Dr. Sooliman is a remarkable human being who even President Jacob Zuma has time for. Let us find inspiration that we not only live but share the ground with this amazing man. Jazakallah for sharing your time with us once again. Khotsakho'nna Zahida Ayanda Tsambo le the An-Nur team. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.